Chapter 2 of The Mouse and the Motorcycle. The Motorcycle. Except for the one terrifying moment when the boy had poked his finger through the mouse hole, a hungry young mouse named Ralph eagerly watched everything that went on in room 215. At first he was disappointed at the size of the boy who was to occupy the room. A little child, preferably 2 or even 3 children, would have been better. Little messy children were always considerate about leaving crumbs on the carpet. Oh well, at least these people did not have a dog. If there was one thing Ralph disliked, it was a Snoopy dog. Next, Ralph felt hopeful. Medium-sized boys could almost always be counted on to leave a sticky candy bar wrapper on the floor or a bag of peanuts on the bedside table, where Ralph could reach them by climbing up the telephone cord. With a boy this size, the food, although not apt to be plentiful, was also sure to be good quality. The third emotion felt by Ralph was joy when the boy laid the apple core by the telephone. This was followed by despair when the mother dropped the core into the metal wastebasket. Ralph knew that anything at the bottom of a metal wastebasket was lost to a mouse forever. A mouse lives not by crumbs alone. And so Ralph experienced still another emotion. This time, food was not the cause of it. Ralph was eager, excited, curious, and impatient all at once. The emotion was so strong it made him forget his empty stomach. It was caused by the little cars, especially the motorcycle and the pup sound the boy made. The sound seemed to satisfy something within Ralph, as if he had been waiting his whole life to hear it. Pup, 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 went the boy. To the mouse, the sound spoke of highways and speed, of distance and danger, and whiskers blown back in the wind. The instant the family left the room to go to dinner, Ralph scurried out of the mouse hole and across the threadbare carpet to the telephone cord, which came out of a hole from the floor beside the bedside table. "Ralph!" scolded his mother from the mouse hole. "You stay here and away from that telephone cord." Ralph's mother was a great worrier. She worried because their hotel was old and run down, because so many rooms were often empty, with no careless guests to leave crumbs behind for the mice. She worried about the rumor that their hotel was to be torn down when the new highway came through. She worried about her children finding aspirin tablets. Ralph's father had tried to carry an aspirin tablet in the cheek of his pouch, and the aspirin had dissolved with an unexpected suddenness, and Ralph's father had been poisoned. Since then, no member of the family would think of touching any aspirin tablet, but this did not prevent Ralph's mother from worrying. Most of all, Ralph's mother worried about Ralph. She was worried because he was a reckless mouse, who stayed out late in the daytime when he should have been safe in bed. She worried when Ralph climbed the curtain to sit at the windowsill to watch the chipmunk in the pine tree outside and the cars in the parking lot below. She worried because Ralph wanted to go exploring down the hall instead of traveling under the floorboards like a sensible mouse would. Heaven only knew the dangers he might meet in the hall: maids, bellboys, perhaps even a cat. Or worse, a vacuum cleaner. Ralph's mother had a horror of vacuum cleaners. Ralph, who was used to his mother's worries, got a good running start and was already halfway up the telephone cord. "Remember your Uncle Victor," his mother called after him. Ralph did not seem to hear. He climbed the cord up to the telephone, jumped down, and ran around the row of cars. There it was at the end, the motorcycle. Ralph stared at it and then walked over to and kicked a tire. Close up, the motorcycle looked even better than he expected. It was new and shiny, and a good set of tires on it. Ralph walked all the way around it, examining the pair of mufflers and the engine and the hand clutch. It even had a little license plate so it would be legal to ride it. "Boy," said Ralph to himself, his whiskers quivering with excitement. "Oh boy, oh boy." Feeling that this was an important moment in his life, he took hold of the hand grips. They felt good and solid beneath his paws. Yes, this motorcycle was a very good machine, all right. He could tell by the feel. Ralph threw a leg over the motorcycle and sat jauntily on the plastic seat. He even bounced up and down. The seat was curved just right to fit a mouse. But how to start the motorcycle? Ralph did not know. And even if he did know how to start it, he could not do much writing up here on the bedside table. He considered pushing the motorcycle off onto the floor, but he did not want to risk damaging such a valuable machine. Ralph bounced up and down on the seat a couple more times and looked around for some way to start the motorcycle. He pulled at a lever or two and nothing happened. Then a terrible thought spoiled his pleasure. This was only a toy. It wouldn't run at all. Ralph, who had watched many children in the room 215, had picked up a lot of information about toys. He had seen a boy from Cedar Rapids throw his model airplane onto the floor because he could not make its plastic parts fit properly. A little girl had burst into tears and run sobbing to her mother when the doll's arm had come out of its socket. And then there was that nice little boy, the potato chip nibbler, who stamped his foot because the batteries kept falling out of his car. But this toy could not be like the other toys he had seen. It looked too perfect, with its wire spokes in its wheels and a pair of shiny chromium exhaust pipes. It would not be right if this did not run. It would not be fair. A motorcycle that looked as real as this one had to run. The secret of making it run must be perfectly simple, if only Ralph had someone to show him how to do it. Ralph was not satisfied just sitting on the motorcycle. Ralph craved action. After all, what was a motorcycle if it wasn't action? Who needed a motorcycle riding lessons? Not Ralph. He tried pushing himself along with his feet. This was not nearly fast enough, but it was better than nothing. He moved his feet faster along the tabletop, then lifted them while he coasted. Feeling braver, he bent low over the handlebars and worked his feet still faster towards the edge of the bedside table. When he worked up a little speed, he would coast around the corner. He scrambled his feet on the tabletop to gain momentum. In a split second, he would steer to the left. But at that moment, the bell on the telephone half to begin to ring, and so close that it seemed to pierce the middle of Ralph's bones. It rang just that half ring, as if a girl on the switchboard realized she had rung the wrong room and had jerked out the cord before the ringing finished. That half ring was enough. It shattered Ralph's nerves and terrified him, so he forgot all about the steering. It jumped his thoughts until he forgot to drag his heels for brakes. He was so terrified he let go of the hand grips. The momentum of the motorcycle carried him forward over the edge of the table. Down, down through the space tumbled Ralph with the motorcycle. He tried to straighten out, to turn the fall into a leap, but the motorcycle got in his way. He grabbed in vain at the air with both paws. There was nothing to clutch, nothing to save him, only the empty air. For a fleeting instant, he thought of his poor Uncle Victor. That was the instant the motorcycle landed with a crash in the metal wastebasket. Ralph fell into a heap beside the motorcycle and lay still.